Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel for some more Path of Exile content. So today we're going to be talking about Path of Exile Ultimatum. I'll give you guys my thoughts on the league and a brief little review and an overview on what the heck this league is all about. So first off, let's go ahead, hop into the league mechanic, and I'll show you some of the newer skills as well as my thoughts on what is in this league. So first off, I just activated the Ultimatum. There's a reward. It shows you what the heck it is, and if you go ahead and complete it, there are several different ways to complete these objectives. You can either survive, kill some enemies, or you can stand in these little circles. And as you keep on going up in the tier in difficulty, you'll be adding more modifiers to it. And if you do fail, you lose everything. So there is some sort of risk and reward. It's kind of like, how greedy are you? Now, some of the items you might not even want, but the thing is as you go up in tier, generally the rewards will be better, but you have a chance to fail. Now, if you do fail, not only do you lose the item that you were trying to go for, but you lose all previous rewards. Now, you do still get some of the items that you get from killing the enemies, but again, generally you want to try to go as high as possible. Now, the league mechanic is actually quite difficult. I'm just at the point where I got to maps. Keep in mind, this is my impressions of the game as of day one. And I say day one in quotations because the first day that the game launched, it was really rough. The servers would just disconnect over and over, and really no one really got to play except for those with priority on day one. But at this point, we've reached maps, so I feel like I can give you guys my thoughts on the league, as a lot of you guys wanted to know, is this league worth playing? Is it any good? So first off, I just love Path of Exile in general. I play every single league up until maps pretty much, and I just try to see, what the new content is all about. Now, in terms of the league mechanic, I give them a huge thumbs up in this department. I like this idea of risk and reward. That's one reason why I really liked Heist so much, is because if you failed, you had a lot to lose. And it wasn't as hardcore as playing hardcore, like losing your character, right? But there is some sort of risk, so it makes the game a little bit more entertaining, because if you fail and you die, if you're a streamer or if you're a content creator, people like seeing you fail. It's just the nature of it. But I also feel like it makes you pay attention to the game more. It's you're kind of on edge. Am I gonna lose out on all of this loot or not, right? So for that reason alone, I really do like the league mechanic. Again, it's really awesome. Now, in terms of the newer skills, because as there is a new league, people want to see the new skills, make builds with the new skills, I kind of found they were a little bit underwhelming from my personal take. And let me go and actually show you some of the new skills. So there's Insanguinate and there's Reap for the most part. There's technically a few other new skills. Some of them are supports, but I'll show you guys the new skills because, I wanted to see them too. And here's Insanguinate. So you kind of shoot out these little blood tendrils and kind of I would say a cone, right? And you can see what it does and kind of how it performs. And I'm going to show you guys Reap, and then I'm going to go ahead and spell slinger them, which is the way I personally only enjoyed in terms of both of them. Now, Reap is a little bit cooler. It has a scythe. It feels awkward though. Without enough attacks or cast speed, it's gonna feel awkward because your character casts it and then it appears, then it does a little a swoop in basically a cone shape. However, wherever the scythe's handle is not, it won't hit them. So it can feel a little bit awkward in the hitbox, so to speak. If there's an enemy right in front of you, it just doesn't hit them. Now, if you go ahead and spell slinger it, you can go ahead and have both of them obviously active at one time by just using your attack. And it's kind of nice in that aspect because it feels a lot better. For me personally, when I was able to combo with that. You can do maybe Cascade or Echo and try some of the other skills, in combination with that. But I'm just trying to, again, give you guys instant, quick, showcase of some of the skills over here. Now, I personally didn't like them, but, people like different things. This is where, I would say it's subjective if you like the skills or not. So you can see, now we're going to go ahead and show off Petrified Blood, so it will reserve some mana. And you'll see that there's these little bone claws on my HP. Basically, once we are under the threshold of basically where the claw starts, we'll start to take damage over time versus just all the damage at once. So it's kind of like a different way of keeping yourself at a very specific amount of life, and your flasks won't heal you past a certain amount because it's trying to support the idea of paying in blood. Most of the skills are going to all cost HP, and once you are under a certain threshold, certain things will be able to be activated once you're on low life, which is kind of the point of these newer skills. They all kind of cost life, or you'll have reserve life. There's some other support gems related to life for the most part, but I wasn't really a fan of it. in terms of like my playstyle, but I'm just again trying to show you guys that like your life won't start regenerating also if you are at certain thresholds. It wants to keep it there, or if you're basically above a certain amount, it won't actually regen your life. So it's really easy for certain builds to remain at a very specific amount of life for, again, interactions and stuff like that. So in terms of the new skills, that's our quick little showcase of the new skills. Personally, for me, I wasn't really interested in playing with them as of right now. Maybe later down the line when I can get, you know, a higher level and I can really mess around with them and see how they perform at min-maxing, I could maybe reconsider it. But in terms of like PoE Ninja, which is a website that can track like some of the highest DPSs in the game, I've seen what people are doing right now. It doesn't seem like it's going to be really high up there, but again, keep in mind we're like day one. Some people are like, yo, is a new skill OP? Sometimes it takes a while for these skills to be able to be really good because people need to figure out how to use them, maybe with some new unique or something like that, right? Another thing that I wanted to mention that I feel like is a really good change for this league, oh, this is really nice. The lab enchantments, you can actually get, you basically get to see what you have as some of the roles. So it's going to make, I would say, the enchant process a little bit better for, you know, most players. We don't like to farm lab over and over again to get that specific enchant because it's just really difficult to get that specific enchant that you want on, like, if you want to, you know, get whatever the case may be. So I think this is overall a nice new change. They've also changed some of the mechanics for the bestiary, but pretty much all of like the essences have kind of been changed as well. Overall, more quality of life changes than I would say like introducing new mechanics to this league. Like, for example, when there's a new league, I always think about like what is going to be new in this game. Like, you know, with Conquerors of the Atlas, we had the ability to or Echoes of the Atlas, we're able to basically kind of modify the Atlas where we can get more deliriums or like whatever end game mechanic that we wanted to kind of do, we could do more of. And I think that that was something that was kind of cool. Or if you guys remember when we had the cluster jewels introduced into the game or the timeless jewels, those things are kind of more big and impact the game a little bit more. As of right now, I haven't seen any like super new mechanic. They have, you can basically roll, it's like a an orb that will grant a veiled mod, which can roll higher than other things. But for the most part, I don't think there's going to be anything like super big in this league, like again, a cluster jewel. And I like that those leagues had something in terms of something new mechanics, right? Or even the newer trinket that was added that was only for heist. Unfortunately, the trinket doesn't really affect you in like the base game. That's something I wish we get like a completely new item that would actually be a newer thing that we had to acquire. Again, I'm thinking more in terms of like long-term, you know, like new game mechanics. But as far as the game mechanics, and another question that was also something that you guys might have is like, is the league mechanic worth doing? Are the rewards good? I would say absolutely. Pretty much, it's very difficult to get like higher in the tier because, you know, the rewards do get better as you progress. However, they do get harder. Usually in Act 1, we don't really have that many items. It can be a little bit rough. Pretty much at Act 2, like, you know, once you get a few alks from just kind of completing Act 1, you can go buy things like, I don't know, Prism Weave or a Brisk Wrap, low level like uniques that just give you like extra damage, or just like a 4 linked item, because you can get Engineer Orbs actually quite early, which is what I would consider another nice quality of life to the game. You're able to actually do the league mechanic quite early on. Pretty much once you hit like Act 2, if you're able to just like slam through all of the tiers and get all the rewards, like maybe sometimes the reward might be like 2 or 3 Chaos Orbs. I got that consistently as I was progressing, and for those reasons, I would say the league mechanic is definitely worth doing. Obviously, once you get to maps, yeah, it is definitely worth doing. But again, sometimes early on with the league mechanic, people don't want to leave the zone. You guys know, like Harvest or Heist, like, I wanted to do the league mechanic, but it's just like I had to go here and I had to like set this up. It just took too much time, and I personally, I wanted to get right into the action. And so for those reasons, I like this league mechanic so much more than like I would say previous league mechanic. Or Ritual was really good too, but like you had to find multiples of these, you know, rituals to get, you know, the best reward sometimes would cost a lot, or you defer it, or whatever the case may be. But for me, I like that you can go, you see like one of the rewards and you just do it, and you just do it real fast, and you know, you complete it. I like the league mechanic. I know I've mentioned it several times, but I'm just trying to explain, you know, comparison to other league mechanics, and you know what I personally like, because you know people like different things, all right? But in terms of the new skills, I would say for those reasons, I didn't really, you know, I found myself really liking the new skills, which I've already mentioned before. But again, I'm gonna wait and see if someone makes some crazy build with them, and then I'll try to, you know, replicate something and give you guys maybe a build later down the line. But keep in mind, I haven't fought the new boss yet. These are my impressions of day one. In terms of like, would I recommend this league? So the league mechanic is fun, but again, it comes down to not having something super new in the league, other than the excitement of is the reward worth the risk. Obviously dying is not that big of a deal. However, there are going to be more ultimatums later down the line, and they showed it off when they showed off like one of the trailers, where like you put in one exalted orb, and if you die, you lose it, but if you win, you double. So I like that idea of like double or nothing. So there's the risk and reward for entertainment value in terms of a content creator. That's great because I do stream the game as well. So like if you fail, people love it when you fail. That's just the nature of it. It's entertaining. It adds a little bit more excitement. Without hardcore, obviously you lose your whole character, and that's a very feels bad. But it is in the same sense where there is some sort of a risk without it being your entire character. So for that reason, I like it. So overall, I would say if you haven't played Path of Exile, maybe since like Echoes of the Atlas or Conquerors of the Atlas, I think that this is a great time to go ahead and hop in. But if you played last league and you tried out the new skills and maybe they weren't for you, maybe holding off on league is totally a-okay, because again, I like the league mechanic, but I know for some people they need something substantial for them to hop back in and play the newest league. For me, I'll play every single league for a little bit. But one thing I do want to talk about that I think was unnecessary, as in like this would be more of a con and a kind of a game suggestion, is I don't know why they decided to nerf talismans. Like for the most part, even in the highest tiers of the game, because you are able to throw those catalysts on the amulets and rings, with talismans being corrupted, obviously with the enchant, and now you can also modify corrupt enchantments, which is overall a nicer change. But let me just actually play some more of another map over here. But I don't think they need to nerf the talismans, even though now we can anoint them when they're corrupted, which definitely is a buff to them because, once the talisman rolled, that was it, pretty much. They're already nerfed at the higher end of the game because you can't throw those catalysts on them, but that's my only real suggestion. From last league, like for once talismans, I would consider them to be really good. But unfortunately, I would say they're kind of meh at the end of the day now, because again, remember, you can't throw the catalysts on them. But overall, to wrap things up in this video, I would say I'm enjoying this league in terms of the league mechanic, but I think that there could be some more game-changing thing. Again, cluster jewels, timeless jewels, something that really changes up the game would be awesome to see in like every league versus just kind of like a minor thing. But again, people like different things, but those are my thoughts, and I'm curious to know yours down below. And if you want to hop into Path of Exile, I recently did drop a video for a new player guide. Like you're like, okay, this is my first time playing, is this league worth hopping into, and you've never played Path of Exile? This is a great starter league, I would say, because the rewards are relatively quick, and the league mechanic isn't what I would consider complex. Like Harvest, you kind of needed some like knowledge, or even with Heist, you had to learn like, I have to level up this, different mercenary, and then, I have to set up the blueprint. Like this is a very easy league for someone to hop in and just play. So if you're new to Path of Exile, definitely check out the video. I'll pin it down below, and you guys can go ahead and mess around with the newer Ultimatum League. But if you've been playing Path of Exile for a long time, or it's your first time, I'm curious to know your thoughts on the league mechanic. But anyways, for my review, overall, I would say awesome league mechanic, but I would like to see a little bit more in terms of like, in the super far in the end game, what else is there, and we'll have to wait and see. There are some new uniques and some different quality of life things, which I mentioned in my like overview video, which I'll link down below if any guys want to check that out. But to sum it up, I didn't see anything that's like, oh my gosh, this is absolutely insane, and I really want to make a build off of this one unique item. At least I haven't seen one yet. Maybe we'll see one pretty soon. But anyways, if you enjoyed the video, drop a like on it. If you're new here, want to see more Path of Exile, more action RPG, and as well as other gaming content, subscribe, turn on that bell, and you'll definitely see more very soon. But take care, and I'll catch you guys in the next video, and I'm out. Peace.